Welcome back to Be to Believe. I think we all find it fascinating trying to truly understand someone's character. Like, how can we go beyond those first impressions to get a real sense of who someone really is?
It's a great question, and it's one that's really intrigued, well, philosophers and psychologists for centuries, right?
Hmm.
What I think is so interesting is it's not about these big gestures or carefully crafted personas that people put on.
Right.
It's those small, like everyday moments, the unguarded actions that really give us glimpses into someone's true character.
I like that. So you're saying it's not about what people say, but what they do.
Exactly. Like actions speak louder than words, especially when those actions seem kind of small or unimportant.
Okay.
It's like a puzzle.
Mhm.
Sometimes those tiny pieces are actually the key to seeing the whole picture.
All right, I'm hooked. So let's dive into some of these tells. The first one, you mentioned the powerless test. Can you explain what that means?
So imagine you're watching someone, they're talking to a waiter or a janitor, or maybe anyone they think is, well, lower on the social ladder. And these interactions, they're really revealing. Because in those moments, there's no real motive, no reason to impress anyone.
Right.
And that's when you can see their real level of respect or compassion, or sometimes the lack of it.
So, like, if someone's dismissive or rude to a server, that could be a warning sign.
Right.
It's like they're only nice when they think it will benefit them.
Makes you think about their values. Do they see others as worthy of respect no matter what? Or is their kindness only strategic?
Wow, that's a great point. It's like testing their empathy. Can they see past social hierarchies and recognize the humanity in everyone?
Exactly. It might be subtle, but it's powerful. It shows you their core values. Now let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about the failure crucible.
Okay, before we jump into that, can I just say failure crucible sounds intense, but I think I get it. How someone handles failure tells us a lot about them.
It really is crucial. We all have setbacks, make mistakes, have those oops moments, right?
Yeah.
But how we respond, that shows our true character.
Right. Some people just melt down, blame everyone else, wallow in self-pity. What does that tell us?
Well, those are understandable reactions, but they could be a sign of something deeper. Blame, for example, can be a way to avoid taking responsibility and learning. Someone who's always looking for someone else to blame. They might be missing out on chances to grow and get better.
So it's not about never messing up. It's about how you bounce back and keep going.
Absolutely. Think about it. Have you ever seen someone turn a failure into an advantage? They learned something no book could teach them.
Right.
Those people, they have this incredible resilience. They're willing to learn, and they can even find the good in a setback.
That's so inspiring. It actually reminds me of a time when...
Hold on to that thought. We want to make sure we have time for everything, especially our next point, which is all about power.
Okay, but before we move on, a shout out to our amazing viewers here at B2 Believe. We're going to uncover a lot of insight today, so don't miss out. Watch the whole episode. It's way better if you follow along with us. And while you're at it, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel to support us.
We love connecting with you all. Okay, back to power.
Yes, power. It's a big one.
Right, there's a saying, power reveals character. And there's a lot of truth to that. But it's not like power changes someone into a different person.
Okay.
Instead, it kind of magnifies their existing tendencies, their intentions.
There's someone who already likes to control and dominate.
Yeah.
Give them a leadership role,
Yeah.
and those tendencies explode.
Precisely. They'll want to control everything, micromanage everyone, even put others down to feel better about themselves. And these things, they can get even worse with power.
It's like power shines a spotlight on their insecurities, their need to prove themselves.
Exactly. But, someone who's naturally empathetic and collaborative,
Yeah.
they'll use their power differently. They'll try to empower others, create positive environments, encourage growth. They see leadership as a way to serve, not to be the boss.
That's such an important difference. It can make or break teams, relationships, even whole companies. I've worked with both types of leaders, and it makes a huge difference in the whole atmosphere.
It's absolutely crucial. We'll dive more into this when we come back, so stay with us. It's funny how these little moments, the everyday interactions, can really show you someone's character.
Right. Like we were talking about, it's those unguarded moments when you see who they really are.
Think about it. How does someone act when things don't go their way? Like when they're inconvenienced. Do they get all impatient and demanding, or do they handle it gracefully?
Oh, I see what you mean. Like if someone cuts you off in traffic, do they fly off the handle or just let it go?
Exactly. Or imagine someone messes up at work, right? Do they immediately start pointing fingers, blaming everyone else? Or do they own up to it and focus on finding a solution?
That's a good point. I've definitely worked with people who are experts at passing the buck.
Yeah.
Like their ego is so fragile they can't admit any fault.
Yeah, that lack of accountability can really be a problem, especially when you're working on a team. But, true character, it shows up in those who own their mistakes, learn from them, and, use them to grow.
It creates a much healthier and more productive environment when people feel safe to admit they messed up and work together to fix it.
Absolutely. It builds trust and encourages people to try new things because they know they won't be punished for making an honest mistake.
This makes me think about another scenario. How does someone act when they get praised or recognized? Do they grab the spotlight and take all the credit? Or do they share it with others?
Humility is a powerful indicator of character. Those who quickly acknowledge others' contributions, who share the credit, well, they show a real sense of self-awareness and gratitude.
Ugh, yeah, I've met those types who just love to hog the credit even when they barely did anything. Not a good look.
It usually comes from insecurity. They need constant validation to feel good about themselves. True confidence shows up in those who are comfortable sharing the spotlight, celebrating others' success, and understanding that it often takes a team to achieve something great.
You know what else I've noticed? How someone treats their stuff, their car, their home, even their clothes. It can tell you a lot about them.
That's an interesting observation. It might seem like a small thing, but it can show you their level of self-respect and how they value what they have.
For example, I know someone who keeps their car spotless, like museum quality clean, and their home is always tidy and organized. It's not about being materialistic, it's more about taking pride in what they own.
That makes sense. It reflects a sense of care and attention to detail that probably shows up in other areas of their life, too. On the flip side, if someone's always careless with their belongings, it might suggest a sense of apathy, maybe even self-neglect.
Like those people who leave a trail of clutter wherever they go.
Yeah.
It's like they don't even notice the mess.
It's not about being perfect, but showing basic consideration for your things, And often that extends to how they treat other people's belongings, too.
This all goes back to what we were saying earlier. Actions speak louder than words. You can say whatever you want about your values and beliefs, but in the end, it's your behavior, especially in those little moments, that reveals who you really are.
Well said. Consistency is key. Do their actions match their words? Do they walk the walk, not just talk the talk?
Exactly. Our viewers here at B2 believe they're smart, they're picking up on all these insights, and if you're finding this deep dive valuable, don't forget to show us some love. Like this episode, subscribe to the channel, and share with your friends. We appreciate the support.
Now let's switch gears a bit and talk about money. How someone spends it, saves it, even how they talk about it. It can be really revealing.
Ooh, yeah. Money can be a touchy subject. Some people seem obsessed with it, constantly showing off their wealth, comparing themselves to others, or hoarding every penny.
It can really magnify someone's character. It shows you their values, their priorities, even their insecurities. People who are fixated on money, they often base their self-worth on how much they have.
It's like their identity is tied to their bank account.
Exactly. And this usually comes from a deep feeling of lack, of scarcity. They think more money will make them happier or more worthy. But, those who have a healthy relationship with money, they see it as a tool, something to support their goals and values, not a way to prove themselves.
I know some incredibly generous people who are very comfortable financially. They don't hesitate to treat a friend or donate to a cause they believe in. It's not about being reckless with money, it's about having a sense of abundance and using it to make a positive impact.
That's a great example. It suggests they see money as something to share and use for good, not just something to hoard or use to feel superior.
Okay, let's move on to another aspect of character. How someone reacts to constructive criticism. Some people shut down and get defensive, while others listen openly, even appreciate the feedback.
You've hit on something really important. Being able to take feedback, even when it's tough, is a hallmark of strong character. It takes humility, a willingness to grow, and a commitment to self-improvement.
It's funny how the people who can handle a little criticism are often the ones who need it the most. They take everything personally and miss out on chances to learn and get better.
Their ego is so fragile that any perceived attack feels like a threat. On the other hand, you have those who are open to feedback. They see it as a gift. They listen, they ask questions, and they use the information to become better versions of themselves.
It's amazing how much faster we can learn and grow when we embrace constructive criticism. It's like having a personal coach, right? Someone to point out our blind spots and help us succeed.
Couldn't agree more. Now, for our final character reveal in this section, let's think about how someone treats animals. Their pets, animals in nature, even their overall attitude towards living creatures.
I've always thought you can tell a lot about someone by how they treat their pets. It shows their capacity for love, compassion, and empathy.
Absolutely. Those who see their pets as family and treat them kindly, well, they often extend that same compassion to people too.
And I think it goes beyond pets. It's their general attitude towards all living things. Do they appreciate how everything's connected and respect all beings? Or do they see themselves as separate or even superior?
That's a profound point. Those who recognize the inherent worth of all beings tend to be more mindful, more empathetic, and more in tune with the natural world.
All right, before we move on to the final part of this episode, a quick reminder for our B2 Believe viewers. We've covered a lot of ground here, so if you're finding it valuable, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Sharing it with your friends would also be amazing. Get ready for more insightful revelations in part 3. And we're back for the final part of our deep dive into the subtle signs of true character. I feel like we've uncovered so much already.
It's been quite a journey exploring how people act in all sorts of situations, but we've got a few more interesting character reveals to get to.
Okay, I'm ready. What else should we be looking for?
Well, how about their sense of humor? What makes them laugh? Do they like witty banter, slapstick, or maybe something a bit darker?
That's an interesting one. I never really thought about someone's sense of humor as reflecting their character.
Think about it. Humor can tell you a lot about someone's values, their worldview, even their emotional intelligence. Like someone who's always making jokes at other people's expense,
Yeah,
they might be masking insecurity or a need to feel superior.
right. I know people who use humor to deflect or avoid tough emotions.
Exactly. But then you have people who enjoy clever wordplay, insightful observations, even a little self-deprecating humor. They often have a sharp mind and a healthy perspective on life.
Oh, I love being around people who can laugh at themselves. It shows a good level of self-awareness.
Agreed. A genuine sense of humor, it can really disarm people and create a sense of connection and warmth. Now let's switch gears again and talk about curiosity. How curious is this person about the world around them?
Ooh, curiosity. I'm a pretty curious person myself, so I'm fascinated by this one. What does someone's level of curiosity tell us?
Well, curiosity can be a sign of an open mind, a thirst for knowledge, a willingness to explore new ideas. Curious people, they tend to be lifelong learners, always trying to understand themselves and the world better.
I've noticed that really curious people are often great conversationalists. They ask good questions, listen well, and are truly interested in what others have to say.
That's a great point. They're not scared to admit they don't know something and are eager to learn from others. They embrace the unknown and find joy in discovering new things.
I think a lack of curiosity can actually be a warning sign. It can suggest that someone's closed-minded, resistant to growth, maybe even afraid of what they don't know.
It might mean they're stuck in their ways, content with what they already know, not interested in broadening their horizons.
Okay, one last character trait I'd like to explore. Integrity. It feels so fundamental. But what are some signs that someone truly has it?
Integrity is about aligning your actions with your values, being honest, transparent, and doing the right thing, even when it's hard.
It's walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Precisely. Someone with integrity is trustworthy, dependable, keeps their promises, they don't take shortcuts or compromise their values for personal gain.
And they stand up for what they believe in, even when it's unpopular.
That's right. They have a strong moral compass, guided by a sense of fairness.
Well, B2 Believe viewers, we've come to the end of our deep dive. I hope exploring these aspects of character has been insightful for you.
It's been fascinating looking at these subtle signs that reveal someone's true nature. And remember, these are just a few starting points. The more you pay attention to these cues, the better you'll understand people on a deeper level.
And knowing these signs can help you make better decisions about who you let into your life, who you trust, and who you choose to work with.
As always, it's been a pleasure.
And to our amazing B2 Belief community, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. If you enjoyed it, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and share it with your friends. We'll see you next time for another fascinating exploration.